Hola, bom dia, Carl Monson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube channel and podcast. And we need some coffee in this studio, I think, if anyone can organise that, which I somehow doubt. So we will just be working on natural adrenaline, endorphins and that sort of thing, because it's Fungi Friday. And I'm so delighted to say Njiza and Michele are here from Shimejito. Adriel may be joining us as well as we round up the last 3 weeks of Fungi Fridays. And we'll have a recap, really. There's a mushroom joke already, a recap. That's probably a kind of type of mushroom. And I've had some beautiful pictures from Peter. Peter, you never let me down with your pictures and your great idea yesterday to use the green screen behind me to display the photographs of the viewers and listeners. So if you have a photograph you would like to see behind me, I'm going to go au naturel, not take my clothes off again like Wednesday, but just get rid of the green screen unless you've got a nice picture to share with me. Already the messages coming in this morning. Oh, my goodness. Owen has gone completely Portuguese. Oyamo esse sentimento de sexta-feira manhã tudo. I don't know. I like the Friday feeling, maybe. Hi, everybody. And Njiza and Michele, I'm sure, will translate for me as and when, and sent one to you earlier. So the pictures are starting to come in. I know there are other people there watching already, so do say who you are, where you are, and how it is in your world today. I don't know about you, but have you had a bonkers crazy week and feeling a little bit tired and looking forward to the weekend, whatever a weekend is these days, in the lockdown era, or just a deconfinement era, I should call it, as we're coming out of it. Talking of which, let's have a quick look at some news, and we will check in on the weather as well. We might stay with the Portugal news, as in the portugalnews.com, for the weather, because they've done a little piece on that. But just wanted very quickly to talk about Portugal prepares for summer holiday season, which on the one hand, you know, the economists, traditional economy will be thinking fantastic, back to normal. And of course, as you know, when we talk to Shimejito, we're talking about alternative ways of doing business that might be a bit more sustainable than people flying to Portugal, staying for a little time, flying out again, and maybe not dabbling so much in the sustainable tourism. Don't get me wrong, I think tourism is really important, but I think we need to do it in a different way. But here, look, in an interview with the BBC, Foreign Minister Augusto Santos Silva also said that he was hopeful that an air bridge between the UK and Portugal could be finalised by as early as the end of the month. Such an agreement could allow for any visitors returning from a visit to Portugal to avoid quarantine rules back in the UK. And this is this balance that people are trying to strike now, right, between mitigating contagion and stimulating the economy. An almost impossible task, it would seem, and causing all sorts of polarity and division. But that's just how things are at the moment. When it came to the matter of discussing quarantine for those arriving in Portugal, Santos Silva said that Portugal would not be imposing this. Yeah, because I guess you can't come for a week and spend the first 2 weeks in quarantine. But he would not be imposing this, and added that talks were ongoing between the two governments to confirm certain rules that need to be in place. And I wonder what their agenda is for making those rules. I'll look forward to your comments about that. According to Santos Silva, the country will be relying on temperature checks at the airports, and there is also the possibility of random testing being applied to passengers as part of an EU coordination. Now, if I know Brits, they'll be drinking on the plane. They'll be hot and bothered already, so their temperatures may give a false positive. Portugal may be welcoming visitors to the country this summer. However, the country will be very different for those who are regular visitors, with restrictions on bars, restaurants, tourist attractions and nightlife still in place. Yes, the nightclubs, how are they going to be? For social distancing to be maintained and to reduce the amount of people gathering at any time. Currently, establishments are only able to stay up until 11 p.m. at night. A far cry from the early hours closing times experienced in tourism hotspots across the country in the past. Beaches in Portugal are open to the public from the 6th of June. That's tomorrow, folks. Do excuse me. However, a new traffic light system will be in place to allow beachgoers. I'm wondering how that's going to work. Beachgoers to be able to assess how busy each beach is before they travel, thanks to an app. Those enjoying beaches will also have to adhere to social distancing rules, which include distance between groups and shades. You get the gist, right? But look at this. This is what people are missing, right? Their lives depend on tourism. Sometimes between 2013 and 2019, the number of British guests in Portugal doubled, reaching 2.1 million in 2019, with the Brits' favourite tourist spot always being the Algarve, where British tourists accounted for more than a third of the total overnight stays. To me, that just, reeks of unsustainability and a very fragile business model. Coming back to business models later on in the show. This year is looking like a very different story for the Algarve, with occupancy levels expected to reach only 30%, something that had never been experienced in the region, said the president of the Portuguese Association of Travel and Tourism Agencies, the APA-VT. Any dialogue you have with travel agents and hoteliers in the Algarve, if we think about June, July, August and September, we'll be talking at best about 30% occupation or business level. So if you do come, you have a much nicer, quieter holiday by the sound of it. Swings and roundabouts. And don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to suffer. If your business is dependent on tourism, I want the best for you. I also want the best for the planet. And we've got to find some balance here. And this little, twist in the road at the moment is helping us rethink things. And that's why Shimejito here. And that's why we'll be talking about the world-changing power of mushrooms and their business model and how they see the world in just a little while. But first, let me do the weather. I have got a Casa do Dia today. It's actually a piece of land near Goiás, Arganil, in central Portugal. Absolutely beautiful. So we'll finish with that. Weather next, and then the Shimejito crew in the house. Yes, we'll go back to portugalnews.com for their little bit of a weather report for the weekend. That's a warm and mild weekend for Portugal. Let me share that with you on the screen now. And as I think I may have predicted with my own digital seaweed, which is pretty accurate, I think you will agree. Warm and mild weekend. High temperatures of the past weeks have now subsided to leave the country with a warm and mild weekend. And I think the good weather's coming back early next week. Lisbon, it'll be warm and mild in the capital with intermittent cloud cover and temperatures reaching average highs of 23 degrees and lows of 14. Still very comfortable, right? There'll be a slight chance of rain over the weekend. This, of course, being the first weekend of returning to beaches. So this will help, I suspect, the authorities who are trying to manage that. The south, hazy cloud and warm temperatures are predicted over the weekend with temperatures reaching highs of 25 degrees and lows of 16. There will be a slight chance of rain on Sunday, but this will pass by Monday. There you go, when temperatures are to rise to 27 degrees in the north. It will be feeling cooler in the north over the weekend with average highs of 19 degrees and nightly lows of 14. Still very comfortable by my money. On Monday, the cloud is set to clear completely. However, the chance of rain is to then increase for the remainder of the week. Okay, I think my guess is sunny Monday, Tuesday, and then, the rain's returning. Okay. Let's see what you're saying in the comments. Good morning to you all. Hola, amigos, from Eloise, who we'll be doing the wine club with tomorrow. Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, we're looking at a Vinha Verde, which would go beautifully with some mushrooms. But no, not mushrooms. We're going with a dish paired by Owen. I think some pan-fried hake to go with our Vinha Verde. How good does that sound? Boom dish todos. Is that a different kind of greeting or a typo? I don't know. I think that's probably bon dia, right? But boom dish might be a different kind of greeting I've not heard before from Wayne, and thank you, Wayne, for that. In there, Gary, morning, Carl, everyone. Today's news picks: chlorinated chicken and the world's largest suspension pedestrian bridge in Portugal. He's ahead of me on the news. I wasn't aware of any of that. We've got chlorinated chicken coming into Portugal. I hope not. Or have we already got it? Morning, Gary, says Owen. And Peter, yay, Fungi Friday. Fantastic. Thank you, Peter, for all your help with the show. Morning, Carl. Lovely blue skies in Lulay this morning from Claire and Steve. Julie Marsh over in Fundao. Shout out for the Fundao people. Morning. Beautiful sunny day in Fundao. Wayne saying, message to self, don't use iPad. Oh, okay, it was bon dia and not boom dis. But boom dis sounds quite cool. Autocorrect does not do Portuguese. Veronica, good morning to you. Morning, everyone. Was actually at the beach yesterday. Very quiet. Most of the restaurants open, but obviously struggling to get custom. You're down there in the south, if I remember rightly, Veronica. Okay. It is Fungi Friday, as Peter was saying. Njiza and Michelle are here. Good morning to you both. How are you? Oh, well, let's unmute you.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Njiza. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. A little bit sleepy, but I'm okay.
Hi, Carl. Hi, Njiza. Hi, everyone.
I think we're all a bit like that this morning, aren't we? You know, let's just go with that flow. Take it easy. Have a nice chat with everybody. It's been so good to talk to you guys over the last 3 weeks. Adriel may join us, I don't know, but it was good to speak to the founder. Michele, you help out. I mean, you're a kind of multidisciplinary collaborative team, aren't you? But roughly speaking, I think, Michele, you're in marketing, and Njiza, you're in the education, and Adriel's the founder, but everything kind of crosses over. What's changed in the world for you guys in the last 3 weeks that we've been doing this? Are you encouraged by what you see? Are you scared, or a bit of both? What's happening? Michele, maybe you'd like to start.
Njiza and I were actually talking about this week. I think there is a scary part because there's a global unrest, which is mainly in Brazil, which is very close to me because that's where I'm from, and my brother's in the States. So I'd say the two biggest poles of unrest and craziness that's going on right now, besides COVID, are those two places. And at the same time that I think that all of the unrest is positive because people are getting fed up with literally like showing they're fed up with everything that isn't good. We're going towards violent unrests, which are being looked at as the only way to settle things. And we all know where that goes. So there's the good part, which is, yeah, we're all standing together for what we believe and we want to do better and be better. But there's the scary part, which is violence generates violence. So it's crazy times. For us, particularly at Shimejito, the last 3 weeks have been crazy busy. We've been talking to you a little bit, but we're back to production on full blast. We're going to have our first mushrooms post-COVID next week. So that's been quite exciting. And I mean, we have to focus on all the positive that's happening, right? So the fact that people are standing up for what they believe in, and people who never stood up for anybody else are doing it now, and I think that's good. Like it's in general, it's a good thing. So yeah, we're optimistic.
Yes, yeah. I guess we've got to go with that ultimately, haven't we? Otherwise, what else do we do? But yeah, completely agree with you. That's a great kind of snapshot, and I can resonate with that. And Njiza, how about for you?
Oh, I don't know where to pick up. What has changed? It's a powerful question. Looking up globally, no, I will speak globally. I think all that is happening and the reactions that I'm seeing in the world, in some way, I sense that they can be scary, but at the same time, I have a kind of, okay, now we are seeing stuff and we can only intervene and do something different if we acknowledge what it's not right. So in some time of celebrating the fact that we are seeing what it's not working in our world. At the same time, well, how this impacts me, he calls me for staying more present in this context of not knowing the final result, as Michele was saying, and Adriel is here. As Michele was saying, we were talking about it, and in some way, I sense that most of the fear comes from the fact that we are giving interpretation to what may arise based on the past. And we are seeing elements, all this, what is happening in the United States, particularly, and Brazil. And it's easy for us to conclude that what is going to happen is something similar of what happened previously. But this is our brain. This is how it fabricates the fear. There's a high probability of things ending up as the past, but there's a lot of new elements in the world. We are a species of these new elements. All the people that are here listening are. And in that sense, I have hope that we may get different results from all these crises. So maybe what changed for me, it's more of not projecting that past into the future and being more able to be present in this space of not knowing and aware that each moment it's a moment to create a different result. Maybe it's that.
Well said. Yeah, love that. And you know, that is kind of human mental technology, isn't it? To experience, I think they call it a pattern interrupt, right? And we are going through one of the biggest pattern interrupts in living memory. And even, you know, by historical standards, it's a pretty big pattern interrupt with many facets to it. And then I guess the natural way of human beings is to think, okay, how can I recover? And then we reach for what we know, don't we? And the problem, of course, for us at the moment, reaching for what we know, reaching for what we had a year ago, wasn't so brilliant anyway. It wasn't headed in a sustainable or fulfilling direction. So I'm hoping that we get the pattern interrupt within the pattern interrupt. And that's where you guys come in. You know, that's why I love what you do, because, you know, on the face of it, it's a company that grows mushrooms, teaches other people how to grow mushrooms, but you've got a much wider specification vision than that. And that's what I'd really like to hear today is, like, you know, that's the question here, isn't it? Is like, well, what can we do? And you're right, Njiza. I think this group of people here is about thinking of something different to do. You know, people are concerned, people love life, people love nature here. And that's what a lot of people, you know, the expats, the explorers who listen to this show, they've come to Portugal because that's present here. And then there are these questions, what can we do? So you've got some sort of solutions. Do you want to talk specifically and more generally as well about what people can do, how they can work on their mindset, how they can stay sane, how they can stay healthy? I'm opening up the floor to you to use as you wish.
Michele, do you want to go? Okay. I think yeah. And what I share, it's
go ahead.
Yeah, the first step, as I was saying, and I think it's very clear even in the design of our boot camp, and it's this acknowledging the reality, the good in the bad, and the bad in the good, and in some way also to develop some skills that help us to work in this notion of complexity, of not knowing, of what kind of skills do we need to operate from this space. And it brings a lot this awareness of agency. We all have agency. And you don't have, I think I mentioned in our previous conversation, you don't have to carry all the burden. So you really have to find what is yours to do. So we offer this space for building capacity in terms of navigating this complex and scary world, and we give we bring tools for transforming business or you as a economic agent be also bring the difference in the way you operate. So business cannot not only be profit-oriented, but purpose-driven. And it's this combination of you have a business opportunity and the way it is delivered, the capacity that is offered to you, the people that are by your side help you to do this in a conscious way. So I will wrap up like this. Michele, would you like to head?
I don't know. I think Njiza, whenever she says something, she says it all. But I think that just putting it in practical words, we're creating a business where purpose is really and social impact are really the pillars. So yes, we want profit, but we want it with purpose, and that's the only way it makes sense. And we want to provide a way where a whole community can collaborate to make a sustainable living. So to produce in a way that's good for themselves, for others, and for the environment. So I think that our main goal with all that we're doing is really to be able to impact positively all the people who are involved in the business, be it investors, be it the person who's going to eat the mushroom that we produce, our partners, our clients. Everybody has to be able to make a sustainable living, not only sustainable for the environment, but sustainable for themselves. So make enough to be able to live dignified and to generate a dignified living for other people, and to be able to help us do what we're going to do. So teach other people, make other people aware, and give other people a chance to own their own sustainable business, to become owners of social impact businesses and do good. So I think we want to create a chain of good with our business, and that's how we see it.
I would
Kind of
to you, Michele. I was listening to you, and stories sometimes tell more the stuff. And in some way, and I changed from the corporate world, and I quit my job in the middle of a crisis, and everyone thought I was crazy. And in my last 10 years, in some way, I see it in some people's eyes, even in my family, this tension between, but all that you made, all the changes you made, this has had a huge impact in terms of being able to live in the society as it is. I know a lot of people that not even considering the possibility of leaving jobs because it's that pressure of paying bills, of paying the house, everything. So, and that's something that really resonates with me reading Shimejito. It's Maslow. We were talking in the other day. So the first levels of Maslow, it's almost as we give the conditions to secure that, so that you can evolve and work in other levels of yourself and elevate that self-mastery. And so I sense that's what Shimejito. So here's the base, because economics is one of the dimensions in this world that we have created. But you don't have to sacrifice your dreams and your humanity to do it. So, and that's what I sense in some way. And in my coaching work, there's this huge tension of people feeling that they are not doing something that is connected with their soul, with their purpose, but they have to pay bills. So in some way, I sense that Shimejito offers these initial conditions to follow what is yours to give to the world.
Beautiful. Yeah, it is such a big worry for people, isn't it? And I have to, thank you, take my hat off to you, because offering the model is great, and also being the change. I think that may come as a comfort. I think all of you have given up kind of corporate careers to be involved in this, which says a lot. That you've put purpose before profit. We haven't had a direct conversation about that, but the idea I get is that you could all be earning a stack somewhere else if you wanted to, but you've chosen to do this instead of what you really believe in, right?
Yeah, we've all been called crazy by somebody, especially our families and friends.
That is the pressure, isn't it? That is such a pressure, but I think it's also an inspiration to people. And the kind of crazy gang here who are giving up their jobs in UK or wherever, the expats around. Well, and it's just, people coming from all over the world to Portugal, and their families too must think they're crazy. But there is this light at the end of the tunnel, isn't there, that people are sensing. And I think the more of us that do it, the easier it's going to get. We're going to be helping each other in this way. So like, hats off and lots of love to the so-called crazy people who've given up their jobs and all their security to make it easier for everybody else. It's really wonderful. And these people go back decades as well, don't they? Can you imagine if you were talking like this 20, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and they were right, weren't they? What they were saying that long ago, but they must have seemed really mad at that time.
There's a lot of people in that group. Yeah. Even a scientist recently, the Gaia hypothesis, which is it's a scientist that posed that the planet, it's a super living system. He was within the community, and there's a lot of scientists that in some way dared to bring these new voices, and they were shamed by their community. They were ridiculed by their communities, but now they are starting to acknowledge that they are right. So there's a famous quote that first they laugh at you, then they persecute you, and then they ask why it didn't happen before. So I think it's a pattern of evolution.
And here we are. we're in the middle of that. And so to finish then, I'd like, you know, in that spirit, I'd like to ask you both, it's 2020 now, and you've seen these memes, haven't you, where like someone's going to lift the lid off a sarcophagus of an Egyptian mummy, and someone's saying, now is not the year for that. Put that back. You know, we've got enough to deal with, right? 2020, we'll look back. This is going to be one of the most turbulent years in human history, possibly. Who knows? We're living here now, so it's most turbulent for us. 2030, what do you want to see by 2030, each of you? Adriel, welcome as well to answer in the comments. But Michele, would you like to go first on that? How would you love it to be in 2030?
Wow. Okay. I think it's a really hard question. Like what I'd love is that people are living in that everything, all the unrest and everything we learned to like be in more harmony with nature, with ourselves, to understand that we don't need this excessive consumption that we've been accustomed to, this excessive production that we've been accustomed to, this hate for each other for no reason, and all of that doesn't make sense anymore. And John Lennon's Imagine came true, but I think that's what I'd love, like for people just to live in harmony in a world like with understand that we're part of nature, that we're animals, like that we have to live in harmony with our ecosystem as an integral part of it, and live in harmony with each other. But yeah, it's utopic and idealistic, but I think it's the way we're going. I read a quote like yesterday saying whether 2020 should be forgotten or whether 2020 is actually the year to be remembered. And I think, yeah, this is the year and the moment to be remembered. This isn't happening for randomly. Like it's all this unrest, and it's all sparking at once because that's what the world came to, and we made it come to this. So now we have to learn from all that we've been doing and just do and be better. And I think we can do that. I think people want to do that. So that's the way I want to see the world go. And I think 10 years is a lot of time for us to get somewhere better, being better and doing better for each other and for the planet.
I'll take it. Thank you. Yeah. I'll have that. Njiza, for you, 2030?
2030. What came up to my mind, it's this... 5 years ago, there's this institute, Integral Institute, that from Ken, and works with Ken Wilber's theory, and in some way he brings this notion that we are evolving in terms of states of consciousness and structures, and it comes from a very tribal state of conscience and structures to very holistic and integrative. Most of the planet, it's in a green environmental, but still with the narrative of us versus them. So it's with elements of separation. And there's the last number that I had, it's that we were between 10 to 50%. So I wish that in 2030 we will be at least minimum 20, so to play here with Pareto, so that we may be 20 or 30% of world population, very integrative, overcoming the narrative of us versus them, how I'm good because I'm green, he's bad because he's a capitalist. So we can really overcome, because it's this narrative of separation that really, really believe that it is one of the root sources of the problems of our world. So more connectivity, more awareness that we all have light, we all have shadow, prosperity, it's not incompatible with humanity. So more minds and hearts resonating at this level. And also seeing a another evidence. And I'm very hopeful and curious to see the European Recovery Plan. I'm hopeful that they bring this shift into turning more resources to people, to social, so my wish is that in 2030 we will have more governments putting people at the center. That's my wishful thinking, and I'm creating already.
That's perfect. I'll take that one as well. And perhaps we should just book in a show for 2030 where we can come back and celebrate the fact that all of that has happened.
Okay.
Along with maybe as well, it could coincide with the opening. I don't know if Adriel, yeah, it could be opening of the 3,000th mushroom farm, maybe more. I'd love to be live at some of those. So 2030 for Adriel of Shimejito here is 3,000 mushroom farms at least, he says, and the first social impact unicorn from Portugal. Excellent, yes, a nice little entrepreneurial reference there. Social
and
impact.
around that farm, sorry to interrupt, around that farm's a lot of local activity, people that were involved and feeling part of the community. Let me complete your dream, Adriel.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Thank you. We've made it a Shimejito visioning workshop. But who would not want what these guys have just talked about? So I'll leave that on the screen. As I say, thank you very much for joining us for the last few weeks. That's not the end. I'm sure. I hope we're going to be working together and treat this as your home as well. So if there's any news you want us to share, just please let me know and we'll do that. So thank you. All three of you are on the screen at the moment. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado.
Obrigado. Bom fim de semana.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bom fim de semana. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Love to find out, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Okay.
Bye, Njiza.
Bye
Hey,
for now.
guys. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much to those guys. Superb. I was all kind of loved up there. But that's how it should be here on the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube and podcast. Thank you so much to Shimejito. So we will finish off now with let's have a look at a few of your comments before we go to the Casa do Dia, which actually is a bit of land today, an old barn for conversion. Bit of a bargain and in a beautiful part of Portugal. A great place to bring about the vision that we've just been talking about. They just need a point of order. Veronica is not down in the south. Central Portugal, Porto de Mos is where she is. And Gary's put in this link to the suspension bridge, this new idea for Portugal. I didn't know about that. I must have a look at that. Thank you for that, Gary. Always welcome. Everybody's news is welcome here on the Good Morning Portugal. Things that you're interested in, things that have come to mind. So do share them with me. If you let me know before the show, I'll do my best to get it on and share it on the screen as well. Yes, Adriel was there. And look, a good morning to a new member of the community here. Good morning. Just discovered GMP. Thanks for such a great resource for those of us still living in the UK but hoping to relocate to Portugal ASAP. First episode watched was an eye-opener. Work on that tan, buddy. All right. Ant and Chris. I've already had a bit of shtick for that, for not bronzing myself before I presented myself vulnerably and naked to you on Wednesday morning. Portuguese with Paolo today, thanks to Peter Silvestre. Which is wild or sylvan. Sylvan is such a lovely word, isn't it, of the woods. The culture of gastronomia silvestre is alive in the Serras, with mushrooms, wild plants, herbs, and game in famous local dishes. P.S. The meme is in your inbox. I think, actually, it is right here. I've attempted to put it on in the background behind me. If I remove myself from the stream for a I don't think I can. My audio happens when I put that background there like that. But there you go. That is a sneaky peek. Let's do that again of Peter's fine. No, it cuts the sound when I do that. So we don't want too much dead air. The enemy of broadcasting. Back to your comments. Adriel, I'm not sure if I left this on the screen for very long, but, he's saying here, inequality is a disease that we can cure immediately with the right will, right? With the right action and will, we can indeed do that. There's enough on this planet for everyone. It's just a matter of organization as far as I'm concerned. Welcome, Anthony. Thanks, Eloise. Have a great day. This is lovely. And yeah, Adriel saying there, we know liberalism doesn't work and never worked. Ideology is not an answer for people's needs. We need things that work. Absolutely well said. And Owen, look, it's a real love fest here in among the community today. Welcome to you, Anthony. I hope you're feeling at home already. Wayne says 10 years is a long time, but I hope to still be near friends and loved ones and make new friends along that journey, but closer to nature and away from the fast lane. Absolutely, Wayne. So let us have a look. I've got to find the right picture for you of this lovely little barn with what is. I'll tell you how big the land is in just. Oh yeah, I'll tell you now, and then I'll show you the pictures. This is Portela, is the village in central Portugal, near Goiás, near Arganil, and this comes courtesy of the wonderful Glenn Catling, who I'm a big fan of. One of the expat explorer community characters, I would say, here in Portugal. This is it's for 12,000 euros. It's approximately 2,000 square meters of land, I believe. River swimming 100 meters away and just 5 kilometers away from Goiás. And let me see if I can share a picture of it with you now. I'm trying to. Oh, yes, I'll show you this in its setting here. It's a little bit kind of sketchy in terms of the detail, and there aren't a massive amount of pictures. But I just want to show you at least one here so that you can see what you're dealing with. I wonder if this is the right thing I'm sharing with you. No, that's a plan for it. There's a plan. That's not a great deal of help, is it? So I'll get rid of that one. And I want to. Oh yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not entirely on top of this technology, and that's why it's been a bit of a barrier to me sharing the screenshots with you. Oh, here are some pictures of it. I think this is a view of it. This is certainly the area where. Yeah, there we go. There it is. There's a nice shot of the barn. That Glenn, I think, believes that the permissions for this could be sorted out fairly quickly to develop it into a more habitable dwelling. A lovely picture of the lane there, and yeah, there we go. There's the picture of the outside of the barn. The main thing to say about this, yeah, 12,000 euros apparently is the asking price for that. Main thing here is that it is in near Arganil and Goiás, beautiful, beautiful parts of central Portugal. So doing my bit. This is what I want to do with the Casa de Dias for you, is share land with you and buildings that, have their own water supply, have scope for growing, probably have a few established trees already, and are in nice areas with local communities who are on this same sort of wavelength. So I hope that's helpful, that one. If you need any help with that, just give me a shout and I'll put you in touch with Glenn and his friend who are selling that. Final word, it looks like here. The mushroom in the picture is certainly not edible, though. Yes, we should say that fairy tale mushroom picture that I showed you is not edible. Always get expert advice when collecting mushrooms. Yeah, if in doubt, leave it out. Do not eat a mushroom if you're not sure. You've got to go with the indigenous intelligence and really be with someone who knows what they're doing, okay? So yeah, and Shimejito, for example, know all about what you can and can't eat, and they're making it safer and easier for everybody. Thanks to them for being with us, and for these last 4 weeks. Thanks to you for being with us today. Thanks to Njiza, to Michele, to Adriel, to everyone, and a special welcome to Anthony, who seems to have joined the community today. Don't forget, tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock, we have our second wine club, Good Morning Portugal wine club, where we're tasting a Chiqui Vinha Verde, which you can get from Continent. It's the easiest place. We're trying to make it easy for people to buy it so that you can taste it with us, and that will be paired with a delightful recipe from Owen of pan-fried hake, I believe, which I think you can also get fairly easily from Continent, I suspect. Hake is an easy fish to get hold of, isn't it? And I imagine we'll be able to find the recipe today or tomorrow in the Happy Homesteaders group, which of course is the group of the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Make sure you join that, Anthony. Anthony and who else were you with? Anthony, and Chris. Do join the Happy Homesteaders group if you haven't already. So have a great weekend, bon fin de semana, and see you on Monday, on segunda-feira. See you then. Take care and bye for now. Até logo. Até amanhã. See you. Até a próxima. Bye for now.